Welcome back to Universe X. I'm chilling here with my mask on because I definitely just went to the grocery store. But basically, I'm here today, as the title may kind of hint to, or just straight up spoil, to talk about some stuff that happened last night on the PPG Webcam event. It was very unfortunate because a player who I'm not going to necessarily name definitely got to the top and then was caught stacking, or at least allegedly stacking, in the finals and was given a game loss. Now, looking back on previous footage, it looks like this was possibly happening again in the fourth, or the semifinals as well. So it's kind of wild because this stuff kind of got through a lot of people that could see the way this person was playing. Now, it's kind of sad because lots of people have been giving a bad rep to webcam events, and kind of sucks. Before I get into it, because I actually came pretty charged about it, just the normal stuff. We're sitting at like 450 subscribers, going up to that 500. Gonna do some fun things, trying to push through, eventually see that 1K. So yeah, any support you guys could give would be heavily appreciated. Past that, if you haven't joined the Facebook group yet, the Dragon Ball Super Community Card Game Discussion Group, there are words in there that need to be switched around, but the link will be in the description. It is the largest forum that you could actually find for our card game. Past that, I've got the link to my Discord in there, and as the new year is kind of rung in, if you like Dokkan and Legends, I will be going heavy on that on my second channel, UniXDB, which will be in the description as well. Now, past the self-plug and the plug for the Facebook group, yeah, it is unfortunate that this is actually able to happen on stream, but the thing is, it's not something that is exclusive to webcam events. Now, when it comes to that, I will talk about some of the stacking a little bit later in the video. But first off, I think this fundamentally has to change the way that setups happen. I think setups need to be uniform. And I know that's going to be annoying for some people, because some people may not have the ability to do things like that. Like, I mean, the stand that my camera's on right now is like, what, about yay tall when it's sitting on my desk, but it can be like a ground mount as well. I have this one that's an arm, and I use this just to record matches, but I also use this to record my box openings. But I have another one that's a tripod that is much smaller and can get more to like a low to the ground type camera angle, and I think that we're gonna start needing to have more of those. Have a view where right on this plane you can see everything that's on the board, and then still my hands in the background, because we need to start making sure that hands are always visible. We need to make sure that the field is visible along with the hand, but most importantly, we need to make sure that while we're playing, you can look up and at any time know where both your opponent's hands are, because this is something that's going to really hurt the credibility of webcam events if it doesn't get addressed. And right now, while we're starting to creeping up with the in-person events again, we can't really afford to have webcam events completely get discredited, because there are going to be a lot of times where it's the only thing people are comfortable doing. But that's that. I do believe that we should have more we do need more rules on the camera setup. None of this, you're looking down at an angle and stuff like that. No offense if that's what you can do, if that's the most comfortable setup. It's just that you can't, if there are ways for everybody to set up their webcam that are different, you're going to be able to have some people that take advantage of that. You're going to have people that maybe don't even take advantage of it, but will look at it and be like, that's not the way it's supposed to be, and then try to throw shade on you. You could not even be cheating. You probably aren't cheating. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say you're not cheating. But if your setup is drastically different than anybody else's setup, people are gonna start asking why for no reason. And all you have to do is draw well, then all of a sudden it's a problem. So I think a uniform setup will be new. Now, this is the next part of this video, is that as I said before, this isn't something that can just happen to you because you're on webcam. This can happen to you literally anywhere, especially if you don't know. Now, I'm not gonna try to throw too much shade on the Yu-Gi-Oh community, but I played Yu-Gi-Oh for since I was like 16 till when I was like, I think probably about 24ish, 23, 24ish, and really, there's a lot of stuff that kind of goes on in that game, and you kind of actually learn to watch out for certain things just because you don't want it happening to you. I mean, like, one of the things that's kind of wild is that you have your deck, right? And you have the shuffle where you put all the cards to the side, okay? And I'm just gonna say right here, one of the things that was really easy to notice with this gentleman was that the bottom chunk of his deck never actually received a cut. Like, he was always cutting and avoiding those last couple cards. And when it comes to stopping yourself from getting like cheated, randomization is everything, okay? Like, when you cut and you never touch the bottom cards, like when these are never touched, and then after you're done with that, you start making piles and you cut from where that is, you know, and you leave that on top, you have like what, 3 piles, right? And after you have your 3 piles, you stack and then you put this on top. You never touch these cards. You never touch them. And so when you pull them up, you have like the same couple of cards that you've been bogarting the entire time. Real talk, that's exactly what happened on the camera. And if you can find the link, you can find the link. You know what? Maybe I'll just put the link in the description since everybody wants to know what to look out for. But you'll see. Go in the description, find the link, and you'll see that the dude literally cut his deck and never touched the bottom cards. And then when he cut, he kept those bottom cards as their own stack. And then he conveniently missed them and then put them on top. This is something that can happen to you just actually on in real life too. So like I said before, randomization is the best way to stop this. Mid-match, it's maybe not as important to hit the randomize, just because mid-match you guys have been through each other's decks so often, you've been able to see them cut, you can do all sorts of things. But if you want to know why some people just cut from like the top barely any and move this here, or just take a couple cards and move this here, it's because when you only just cut from the middle, you give your opponent, if they are trying to pull the wool over your eyes, you give your opponent the chance to set up cards right in the middle. So that if you cut from the middle like normal, you're likely putting most of those cards into their hand and giving them a better chance. So realistically, anytime your opponent asks you to cut the deck, cut it a couple times, you know? If you want to cut from the middle, cut from the middle. If you want to cut from the side, cut from the side. Like, literally, don't just cut. I wouldn't cut from the middle. I would change it up every single time. So if a person is cunning enough to try to be pulling you over, they can't be like, okay, this person always likes cutting from the top, so let me try to like do some shenanigans. No, change it up every time. Change your cut every single time. Start at the bottom, hit the middle, go to the bottom again, hit the top. Like, just randomize it. And then in the beginning of the game, if you like to, always make sure that the last thing your opponent does isn't just sectionally cutting their own deck. You know what I mean? Like, make sure that somewhere in between there has been a firm randomization. And if you ever don't feel comfortable with what your opponent is doing, ask if you can cut their deck. Ask if you can shuffle their deck. And if they say no, be sure to call a judge, because that's a red flag in itself. So this is just a PSA. I'm not going to get into any of the drama about the placements and like how it could be affected if the person was caught earlier. But I just want to say that yes, it's a tragedy to have somebody cheat through an event, but it is also your responsibility to catch these things as well. Yes, people shouldn't be cheating, but at the same time, you have to be vigilant as well. There's a reason why you're asked to cut people's decks. It's a courtesy. Anybody who plays competitively understands they wouldn't want it to happen to them, so they're not gonna sit here and be like, oh, I'm gonna shuffle my deck and put it down. Always ask to cut your opponent's deck. It is literally your right as the opponent. And just try to make sure this stuff doesn't happen to you. And on a webcam event, yes, you cannot shuffle your opponent's deck. So it kind of falls more on you to pay more attention to their shuffling. And I know that in your home, being comfortable, you may not be able to be as alert as you were across the table, but just watch them. It's not worth getting cheated in an event that you paid to be in. It's not worth it. So just watch them, and if at any time something seems odd, you feel free to pause the game and be like, hey, look, I'm gonna need you to shuffle that, like, hard. Or if they don't want to do things, call in a judge. So yeah, that's my PSA on it. I hope this video was good for somebody. And like I said, randomization is key. If it looks like certain cards aren't ever moving, even if it's an accident, make sure they're aware of it. And if they keep doing it, call a judge. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time inside Join Universe X. Later.